What is going on? I'm going back and editing this, and I'm just like looking at how I'm recording and how I'm playing. And honestly, I was doing a better job back in 2011 with my Pentium 4 editing and recording on there. I don't know what's going on, but here's the video anyway. Luckily, halfway through the video it got a little better because I found one of these where I work, and I was able to just not use my chin to hold my phone as a camera, so it got a little better halfway through. But you're gonna have to excuse me. I apologize for this like pitiful gameplay and recording. When I saw these computers laying on the side of the road on the way home from a county fair, I was ecstatic. I thought I was going to be able to throw in a 6950 into the one with the Pentium D820 and a 7770 into the one with the Pentium E, and I was going to get some nice playable frame rates. I took two power supplies, ran into an issue with the Dell one just because it was the CPU 4-pin connector was a little too short, so I had to take turns with the Antec 620 watt power supply. But I loaded up the Pentium D with the Asus Leonite motherboard, 4 gigs of RAM, and the 6950, thinking I was going to be able to treat myself to some respectable frame rates. But instead, I got absolute bupkis. I loaded it up on Windows 10, and guess what? It didn't even work with Windows 10. I had to get Ethernet drivers for the motherboards. I was like, all right, Windows 7 it is. Loaded up Windows 7, it was okay. And then I downloaded Steam and Counter-Strike. I loaded up Counter-Strike, and I was averaging a nice 20 FPS. Like, that's what, when I open up an FPS, that is exactly what I want to be looking at. 20 frames per second. That's nice. And then I loaded up Left 4 Dead, and I also was getting like 25 FPS. So it was very visually pleasing. And then I loaded up WoW, and I was thinking, well, WoW is from 2004, and I was treated to maybe like 25 FPS. It was slightly better. When you went into arenas, it was like around 30. And then when I loaded up the best FPS ever, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, I was getting like right under 30 FPS. So by that game, it doesn't even matter because you just use the Scar H silence and you're good to go, son. The only game that ran half decently was Skyrim. On medium settings, it was pulling 40 FPS, but that's still not that great. I was having a very lousy gaming experience until the Pentium E2140 was able to save me. I tried to put in 4 gigs of RAM. The Dell motherboard just wasn't having it, so I was like, whatever, we'll run with 2 gigs of Patriot 800 megahertz RAM. DDR2, that is. I threw that in with a 7770 with 1 gig of VRAM, but it doesn't really matter. And it ran okay. It ran pretty good. I was playing Counter-Strike, and I was averaging in the 40s, and I did have the settings buffed up a little bit too. It wasn't all lowest settings. I did have them jacked up just a tiny little bit. I was getting around 40 FPS. I was like, okay, this is getting better. I loaded up WoW. WoW was running around 60 FPS on the lower settings. Everything wasn't lowest, but lower settings it was pulling around 60 FPS. I was very happy with that. Left 4 Dead, it was like pulling like 45 or something. I really don't play Left 4 Dead that much. But my favorite, the best FPS ever created, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, pulling a beautiful 40 to 50 FPS on medium settings. I was actually finding myself enjoying this. I'm pretty bad at FPSs on the PC, and I did pick this up for $9. But I was actually finding myself, I was playing a terminal, gotten like some kind of hacked lobby because it was domination, and I queued up for team deathmatch. But whatever, I threw on my tar, and I was actually enjoying myself. It was a good experience. Now, all that's left is I'm selling on eBay. The Leonite with the Pentium D820 and 4 gigs of RAM, I'm selling for $18 with $20 shipping. And the Inspiron 530 with the Pentium E and 2 gigs of RAM is selling for $10 with $20 shipping. So make sure you go buy it, fellas. Thanks!